The sky outside is a deep, bruised purple, and the rain taps a slow, uneven rhythm against the kitchen glass. Inside, the house holds its breath. The cat stands in the center of the room, her shoulders drooping under the weight of the early hour. She reaches up, pressing a paw against the lamp switch. A pool of amber light spills across the counter, pushing back the cold blue shadows that cling to the corners. She exhales a soft, long puff of air, her gaze lingering on the empty space of the room. She moves to the counter and picks up a wooden spoon. The kitchen begins to wake, defined by the rhythmic clatter of a bowl and the sharp, sudden hiss of batter hitting a warm, greased pan. She cracks an egg with a steady, practiced hand, her movements precise and automatic. She pauses for a second, eyes tracing the familiar, crumpled lines of a grocery list taped to the fridge. She stifles a yawn, her whiskers twitching in the dim light. The stove burner clicks, a small flare of heat rising to meet the pan. She is alone in the quiet, focused entirely on the task, working to fill the silence before the rest of the house stirs into life. The cat moves to the next room where the 3 kittens remain tangled in blankets. One has his paws splayed wide, another grips a worn stuffed rabbit, and the third sits upright, staring at a picture book. She nudges them with her nose until they stir. The house erupts into motion instantly. A heavy backpack hits the floor with a dull thud. A glass of juice tips over, splashing dark liquid across the wooden table. One kitten frantically digs through a towering pile of books, while another hops on one foot, searching for a missing shoe. Amidst the sudden flurry of fur and the clatter of objects, the cat moves with quiet, practiced precision. She reaches out to straighten a crooked scarf, her paws moving quickly to secure the fabric. She wipes a sticky smudge from a kitten's chin with a damp cloth and tucks a small, extra treat into a lunchbox. The noise is constant shouts, shuffling feet, and the sharp sound of drawers opening and closing. She does not rush. She simply exists as the anchor, fixing each small disaster before it can escalate, ensuring the frantic energy stays focused on the door. Every action is a deliberate correction to the morning disorder. The frantic pace of the morning slows as she leads them back toward the kitchen. She steers them toward the table, her movements fluid and calm. She glances into the fridge, her gaze scanning the shelves. They are nearly bare. A single lonely slice of bread remains on the cold wire rack. She reaches in, retrieves it, and sets the plate down. There is nothing else. She pushes the plate toward the smallest kitten, her paws firm but gentle. The kitten reaches for the food, eyes bright, unaware of the empty space behind her. She turns away, facing the window, and draws her breath in deep. She keeps her back to the table, her posture rigid to mask the hollow ache in her stomach. She watches the raindrops slide down the glass, focusing on the rhythmic sound to steady her pulse. She does not look back at the table until the plate is scraped clean. She keeps her hunger hidden, a quiet weight she carries alone, ensuring the smallest one is satisfied before the long day begins. She waits for the sound of the chair sliding back, her own needs pushed into the shadows of the morning. Outside, the yellow bus idles in the driveway. The engine hums, vibrating through the porch floorboards, cutting through the crisp morning air. She kneels on the wood, bringing herself level with them. She reaches out, smoothing a collar and tightening a strap for each child in turn. She presses her forehead against theirs, one by one, a brief, grounding contact that holds the morning together. Then, the smallest kitten breaks the formation. He sprints back from the bus steps, wrapping tiny arms tight around her waist. He buries his face against her, holding on for a heartbeat before pulling away and scrambling up the metal stairs. The doors hiss shut with a metallic finality. The engine revs, and the bus pulls away, tires crunching over loose gravel. A thick, gray cloud of exhaust lingers in the golden morning light, slowly drifting into nothing. She stands alone on the porch. The house behind her is empty. Silence rushes back into the hallway, filling every room, heavy and absolute. The transition from the noise of the morning to the stillness of the house is instantaneous. She stands still, watching the taillights of the bus fade until they are gone. She turns back toward the house, her boots clicking against the porch planks. Inside, the kitchen is a map of the morning's frantic work. Scattered crumbs litter the counter, and the chairs are pulled at odd angles away from the table. She walks through the space, stepping over a stray book left on the floor. Her gaze drifts across the table, catching on a small, rectangular scrap of paper resting near the centerpiece. She picks it up. The handwriting is uneven, pressed hard into the fibers. Best breakfast ever. Love you, Mom. She reads the words twice. The silence of the house no longer feels heavy, it feels reclaimed. She pulls out a chair and sits, the wood creaking softly under her weight. She reaches for the cold, leftover pancake sitting on a side plate. She takes a slow bite, the flavor unremarkable but steadying. She leans back, her eyes fixed on a patch of sunlight creeping across the floorboards. The warmth moves toward her, inch by inch, washing over her hands and the table. She watches the light, breathing in the stillness. The house remains quiet, but the morning's exhaustion begins to recede. She finishes the meal, her gaze steady, finding a quiet, grounding resolve in the golden light that fills the room.